Hello out there. Forgot to change the name on Zaps. We're on the air. Good morning, folks. Good morning, Bitcoiners. Good morning to the best community of people on the planet. Adam says, hey, I made it earlier. Did I already miss the show? Nope. We're here. We're here and we're just getting started, baby. Got a good show today. It's titled, Have Fun Playing with Your Bitcoins. What? But first, hold on. Did I post this yet? I didn't. Okay, so I got two things to do on Nostr here right now. I got to share the show. Number one, top priority, done. And secondly, we got to send Letha a little zap. So I'm going to find, this is the cool thing about Nostr. Well, the cool thing about Bitcoin. This is me having fun playing with my Bitcoins. I can find Letha on here. I don't have to ask her permission to send her some sats. But I'm going to. Found her. I'm going to send a zap to Letha. This is our new thing on the show. Letha's comment today. Good morning. Anyone else getting ready for Hurricane Helene? And I had a bit of a laugh there because I remembered Helene. Oh no, this is Thursday today. Helene from The Office. That's who Pam's mom is. And Michael was dating her until he found out how old she was, and then he dumped her. That's a great episode. So that is Letha. I just zapped on Nostr. She didn't have to share her. If she wants to, though, it's going to be up to her. I'm going to give people the chance every morning. Yesterday, we had BTC Backpackers lightning address up on the screen for about half an hour through my whole rant yesterday. So Letha, if you want to share yours, people can send you some zaps. If not, that's okay too. I already zapped you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So that's what we're going to start doing on the show. I like that because it ties very well into the 88 Sats channel. Every morning before the show, I'm going to find a comment in the live chat. So if you want to win that, we got a couple of different ways to win Bitcoin every day. But if you want to get in on that, stop by early, leave a comment, and the best comment or the comment I think deserves most wins today, or wins the show. 88 Sats. And you can share your lightning address, or I can find you on Nostr as we did today. And we'll just keep having fun with our Bitcoins. Have fun playing with our Bitcoins. Okay, let me check on the zaps here. I got to change this because it is Thursday, which means it's Open Sats Thursday. And I see we have a zap in there already from an NPub. Oh no, it says Daniel. That was me. Forgot to log in. Really? So you can send zaps on Zapstream without even logging in? That's interesting. It's very interesting. Daniel, what do you use? Like, what are you watching this on, or what are you using? Zapstream, SatsGG? Are you watching on your phone on Nostr? That's cool. Anyways, thank you, Daniel. 1,000 sats for the Open Sats fun today. And just to provide a bit of an update on how would I find that? What did I title that? Funds, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. We'll get an updated amount of our funds that we got going. So currently in the Open Sats fund, we have 52,710 sats plus Daniel's recent zap. And for the dogs, we got 43,000 sats, 43,589 sats. So we're just going to keep racking those up. I don't know how long it's going to be going for, but we're going to keep racking those funds up. And once we get to a sizable amount, we're going to send in some donations for Open Sats for sure. The dog fund, I think we're going to be waiting a little bit longer for that. Just because there's nothing set up yet in place. So we're working on it. But the main thing is we have to keep track of it. So I see Letha also zapped 1,000 sats over there as well. Thank you, Letha. Very much appreciated. That's going towards the Open Sats Fund. Daniel's watching on Sats GG. Interesting. Very interesting. So if you're a Bitcoiner, you're watching the show, you enjoy the show, try out sats.gg. Just type it into your browser, sats.gg. Watch today's show on there. You can set up your Lightning. It looks like Daniel did it without even a login on there. So that's kind of cool. I'm guessing he just zapped out of his Albi, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, this is the daily Bitcoin journey. It is a journey. And this show focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. So I'd like to say welcome to everybody here today. I see some new faces in the chat. I see Plunger also zapped 1,000 sats over in the Zap stream. So thank you for that. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a post afterwards, after the show today. So we got Daniel, we got Letha, and we got Plungy so far. I'm going to give a bit of a appreciation post on nostr today for anybody who zaps the fund, the Open Sats fund. We got Cold Deck here this morning. We got Innovation Bull. We got Jason. We got Muslim Bitcoiner who says, Assalam. People still think investment properties are a forever seamless money printer. From changing tenants, annual tax increases, insurance, maintenance, just get yourself your own home and then buy some Bitcoin with the rest. Good afternoon, Austin. Good to see you here, brother. Adam, you are here on time. Silver Fox, Duncan, good morning. One of our Bitcoin journeymen. Steve Jones, that's a new face. Hi buys. Hi bye. Must be a Newfoundlander. Hi bye. Oh no, he meant to say hi guys. All right, not from Newfoundland. Might be from Newfoundland. BTC Backpacker, the winner of the 88 sats yesterday. Mowing those sats today. Let's go. Josiah. Morning, brother. We have, what time would it be in on that side? How is this happening? I don't know. Anyways, I'm doing Josiah's, I think is launching a Bitcoin channel here this week. And we're going to be the first guest. I don't know why I said we. I'm going to be the first guest on his show. So keep an eye out for that. We're not doing a live one, unfortunately. I wanted him to do a live one. Maybe I'll still talk him into it. We're doing it today for me and tomorrow for him. That shows how far away we are on the earth. So anyways, if you want to see us do it live today, then say, Josiah, let's do it live. But it's his first show, so we're going to have a fun one. Timber Crasher, good morning, my friend. And we got Ryan in here. Great answer yesterday on congestion. Yeah, I thought so too. It didn't. I clipped it after. I just had a hard time finding a good title for that one, so I don't think it got as many views as it should have. Because I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but that was a pretty good explanation of the Bitcoin blockchain, the demand for block space, and what happens when it gets too congested. So I don't know. I tell you to share it, but I don't think there's anybody in our lives that give a shit about it yet. Innovation Bull says, does Nostr have an app in Canada? So there is no Nostr app. Nostr is a protocol. So think of it like that. It's like the internet. It's like email. It's like Bitcoin. It's a protocol. So there's different applications built on top of the protocol, Nostr protocol. And here in Canada, depending on what you use for a phone, if you're on iOS, I would suggest using Damus, DAMUS, or Primal. If you're on Android, you get the best of the best, which is Amethyst. So if you're on Android, make sure you're using the Amethyst app. And then what could I tell you to do from there? Primal, you should be able to search usernames. That's the nice thing about Primal. If you went on to Primal, you create an account, and you just typed in Jor, J-O-R, you should be able to find me on there. Not all apps have that feature in them. Usually you have to find with an npub, but Primal's pretty good for that. BTC Backpacker says, I feel like Pac-Man. Mowing down sats. Okay, what was I looking at here? Oh, the likes. Rick's in the house today. So Rick, let's see what we've been able to do here for the likes. Rick is one of our official like reminders of the show. Hold on. Hold up. Might be loud. No. All right, we got 23 people in here. 15 likes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We'll let you guys off the hook today. That's pretty solid numbers. All right, I see Cold Deck also zapped 1,000 sats for the Open Sats Fund today. Thank you, and thank you. Letha says the video on sats.gg seems to work better than Zapstream. Zapstream is great. I like the look of Zapstream better. There's a lot more features on there. Sats.gg is very plain Jane, very simple, which also isn't a bad thing, right? But I like Zapstream's features a little bit better. The nice thing about sats.gg is, as Letha said here, the video seems to work better. And also, you always see the names in there. It's never like npub. There's no lag. So try out both. See what works better for you. But I would suggest, if you're a YouTuber and you're a Bitcoiner, head over to Zapstream. Check things out there. All right, what we got going on here in the mempool today? We're currently block height 862951. The winner of the last block was via BTC. Where's our difficulty adjustment here? There we go. All right, so let's see this in practice here, because we've been talking about it for the last couple shows in terms of the difficulty adjustment. Let's see it in practice. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to up here. I'm going to click this one. I think gives us the difficulty adjustment. There it is. There it is. So you can see we've been talking about it for the last little while in here, because we were about 90 blocks behind. And when the blocks get behind, they're supposed to be every 10 minutes on average. If they're faster than 10 minutes, then people are finding the blocks too quickly, which means the difficulty needs to be cranked up, right? If the blocks are taking too long, like we were 90 blocks behind the average, then it means that it's too hard for the miners to solve the block equation. So the difficulty has to go down. So we can see here for the last year, it's pretty much been a slow, there's a couple dips here, and that's probably what this is going to be as well. But you can see the slow increase over time here of the difficulty, which means that there's more competition, more people plugging in. And that's created an upward trend of the difficulty. But we can see here on September 24th or 25th, one of the two, they dropped the difficulty. Hopefully you can see that right on the right side of the screen there. They dropped the difficulty down. So that's where we are now. And it'll be like that for the next X amount of blocks, not time, but blocks. So there you go. It's a fun fact for today. Hey, look at this. We got a super chat. We've been getting a few super chats lately. I like it. They're the equivalent of Zap. So let's see what the sat amount of that would be here. This might got to make sure we're in Canadian. Yep. Receive $5. That is 5,767 sats from Vake. Keep up the great Bitcoin content. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. That is it's awesome. I love the super chats. They're rare. They are rare. Ryan says, do you know much about the MiCA regulations coming into effect? I don't know what MiCA even means. Let me do a quick search. MiCA regulation summary. Is it markets in crypto assets? No, I don't know anything about that. It looks like it's by the European Commission. Hey, look who's here. Hey, cheer up, buddy. He's mad. He's mad he can't be outside chasing snakes. I don't blame him. All right, what do we got here? What kind of Bitcoin-based jobs do you think will take off as the asset further matures in the market, excluding software developers? That's a great question. That's a very good question. And I think when people think of Bitcoin jobs, they're thinking, I'm going to go work for Coinbase. I'm going to go work for Bitcoin Well. I'm going to go work for, I don't know, who else? A podcaster or a YouTuber, something. But I think it's going to be a lot different than that, because you have to keep in mind here, that as this whole thing, and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the show, and I apologize for those who are here for that and have to listen to it again, but it's worth repeating. So in this next bull run here, I think that there's been a lot of businesses, especially like in the Bitcoin sphere. I think a lot of businesses, instead of spending money on like growth or hiring people or investing in the business, I think the majority of those companies have been holding their free cash flow in Bitcoin because they know what's coming here, especially for like the last 2 years. I think that Bitcoin companies understand that it's far more valuable to just get through the bear markets, stack as much Bitcoin as you can. And then once you have the leverage there, once you have the purchasing power, that's when you grow. That's when you start hiring people. That's when you start marketing. That's when you start investing back in Bitcoin, using some of the, or in your business, using some of the Bitcoin reserves you've built up. So that's the first part. I think there's going to be a lot more Bitcoin businesses, or at least businesses who have been stacking Bitcoin, that are going to be hiring over these next couple of years. As their reserve, as their fund that they've been building up increases in purchasing power. Because if you think about it, let's say that a company has been operating for the last couple of years within, not in the Bitcoin space, but they've been building up Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And there's a lot of companies who have been doing this that aren't public, that aren't MicroStrategy. And so let's say that they stacked up $50,000 worth of Bitcoin today. That's how much they have. So instead of hiring somebody, or even more than that, $100,000, instead of hiring somebody, instead of marketing, they've been buying Bitcoin. So as we go through these next 6, 12, 18 months, all of a sudden that becomes 200,000 worth, and then 300,000 worth, and then 500,000 worth, and beyond. And think about how much more purchasing power they have, even if they spent the excess there. Let's say they just kept their initial investment of $100,000 worth of Bitcoin and spent the rest on growing their business. That's what I think is coming in these next couple of years. So that's the first part. But you also have to think about all the businesses who don't have Bitcoin yet. Think about the bigger businesses. I'm thinking like car dealerships, insurance agencies, banks. All of these companies, when they see the rise in price, when they see the success that MicroStrategy's had, when they see all these different factors at play right now, including BlackRock coming out and saying that they're betting on the dollar crashing, they're going to start looking into Bitcoin. And when they do that, they're not going to be watching YouTube videos. They're going to be looking to hire somebody who's knowledgeable in Bitcoin, either hire or contract somebody who's knowledgeable in Bitcoin to help out their business, to learn about Bitcoin, so they can start adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. So don't limit yourself to just the Bitcoin companies. Think beyond that. Every company on earth is going to have a head of Bitcoin strategy in these next couple of years. Maybe not next couple of years, within the next decade. The smart ones will be doing it in the next couple of years, and that's going to be plenty. If you think about think about the spread here. Think about the spread between companies who are going to need Bitcoin and people who understand, and can help that business with Bitcoin. There's a huge spread there, massive. So don't ever estimate, just because you've been in Bitcoin for a couple of years now and you've been sinking a whole bunch of time and energy into Bitcoin and nothing's really come of it yet. Don't think that your knowledge is not valuable. It's going to be extremely valuable in the coming years. So what you have to do is just find a network, put yourself in as many networks and communities as you can, because you're going to be the one who has to come up and find the opportunities. Unfortunately, it's going to be like a big time lag between, like there's not going to be anything that's going to connect companies to Bitcoiners. That's what's going to be the lacking force there. So what you have to do is you have to look for opportunities. You have to be the one who's out there talking to people, networking with other Bitcoiners who know a company hiring, or maybe they're the company hiring. And so I would strongly suggest, if you haven't yet, and I know that there's been a lot of people as of late joining, but join the Living in the Future. That's where you're going to find the most opportunities. Right in front of your face. You're not going to have to look too far. It's going to be right in front of your face. And we're going to talk about it a bit here in terms of the show today, but there's lots of opportunities there. So if that's something that you want to do, like I said, if you've been somebody who's been, it's the amount of time I've spent listening, learning, and watching about you on Bitcoin for the last 4 or 5 years is insane. And I know that there's people probably watching the show here who feel that way, same way. And so if that's something that you want to do, if you either want to work for a Bitcoin company, start your own business, or find other businesses who are looking for somebody to help them with Bitcoin, then consider joining a network and consider Living in the Future. I think it's the best one out there. As I've said before, I joined the Orange Pill app about a year ago. I paid 100,000 sats and I haven't used it once. And you compare that to the Living in the Future community, and I'm sure people can attest to this in the chat, but there's a lot of value there, a lot of value for much less cost. Like an example, we've been doing it for about 6 months now. This is kind of the crazy part to me. We've been doing it for about 6 months now. So if you've been a member from day one, a member of that community, you would have paid 6 times $5, $30 for 6 months worth. You can't even buy a fucking sub in Canada anymore for $30. Well, you can, but you know what I mean. Like that's what I mean. Like, don't think of it as like an investment in your future. Even though the opportunities aren't right in front of you, that's the kind of things that you have to be doing to be looking for those opportunities and finding them. Daniel says, Living in the Future is way better than Orange Pill app. The only people I connected with on Orange Pill app were shills. Yeah, exactly. And that's the nice thing about it, is that, you know, it's $5 a month. It's helping support the channel here. Of course, it's keeping me motivated to keep adding value to the community, but it's also a barrier. It's the spam filter that we've been talking about for forever here. Because if I just said, okay, here's this Telegram chat, here's this Signal chat, anybody can join, it'd be a nightmare. So with this, people actually have to have some skin in the game. They have to be committed enough to pay a small amount and be part of that. If you are somebody who's interested in that, I'd say that it's the best investment that you can make right now, truly. So I didn't mean for that to be an ad, but that's how you're gonna have to find these opportunities, is within networks. A company's not going to see, your local bank isn't going to phone up DJR78 because they saw him on YouTube. They're not going to be able to find you, right? They might not even know you have Bitcoin. So you have to put yourself in these situations, whether that's a community, whether that's going to meetups, conferences. I wouldn't say, unless you've been in Bitcoin for at least 2 cycles, but this is kind of the starting grounds for that. And this is going to evolve into so much more. And I've said from day one, the people who are here in the community early are going to be rewarded most for that. And we are still very early. Actually we'll save that for now. We'll save that for now. Which Bitcoiner got me into Bitcoin? That's a great question. That was actually a guy named Bitcoin Ben. And it wasn't anything to do with price. This is the crazy part about it. It wasn't anything to do with price. It wasn't anything to do with the technical aspects of Bitcoin, the decentralization, the immutability of it, you name it, portability of it, durability of it, none of that. It was looking at history. It was about a 2-hour show on the history of our banking system, our Federal Reserve, the central banks, funding wars, all that kind of stuff. And at that point, I realized how broken our monetary system was without me even knowing about it. And so his name obviously is Bitcoin Ben. I still watch his show all the time. I did a bit of work for Ben for a while. I haven't talked to him in a bit, but maybe in the future we'll do a couple of collaborations together. Beautiful dog. He is a beautiful dog. He's the best dog on the planet. He's somewhere out there. All right, let's give away some Bitcoins. Oh, it's President's Cup today. President's Cup. What was I going to say on the President's Cup today? I don't know. I thought I had something to mention on it. It's in Royal Montreal today. Pretty cool. The last time that, that's what I was going to say. If you're a golf fan, I don't know how many golfers there are in this chat, but we do a golf show every Wednesday night. My little brother, myself, and one of our best friends, we do a golf show every night or every Wednesday night. And so we did a President's Cup preview of it last night. So if you have some time today and you're going to be watching the President's Cup, make sure to check out our show from last night. It's called The Kingdom or Kingdom Golf Show, K and G, like this. King without an I. Kingdom Golf Show. And it's called the President's Cup Preview. Check it out. It's pretty good. We dove into some of the stuff about Royal Montreal. We talked about Weirzy beating Tiger back in 2007 in Montreal and some matches that are happening today. So I wanted to mention that if you are a golf fan, check out the Kingdom. And join us sometime in the live chat. I've seen a few faces from these chats who have been stopping by in the golf chat. So appreciate you guys. Okay, let's give away some Bitcoin. This is our last toss of the month, I guess. Maybe I'll email them, but maybe I'll just let it be. All right, so get your phones open up. We're going to redeem these 500 points, our last 500 points, and somebody's going to win 21,000 sats. Ready? Set? Go. That wasn't an official prediction. And I wouldn't have counted if it was. 500 sats once again to some lucky person out there. We're giving away lifetime, life-changing wealth here on the show every day. 500 sats. The crazy thing is if you held on to these 500 sats for the next 50 years, it probably would be life-changing sats. But we're not there yet. Somebody has claimed it. So congrats to whoever won the sats today. Good on you. And that was courtesy of Bitcoin Well. So we're out of tosses for the month. How many days we have left here? 2 days. Well, we can probably get by without. I'll maybe email them though. So shout out to Bitcoin Well. Like I said, I think we're going to be doing more work with them in the future. But consider if you're in Canada, if you're in the US, make sure you get yourself a Bitcoin Well account. They're the best exchange that I've been using. I shouldn't say by far, but they're the best exchange I've been using. Just the features, the functionality of it, the very easy to use website, the small 1% fee. They don't hold any Bitcoin. Any Bitcoin you buy goes directly into your cold storage. And I really like the well tosses. I like that they give away Bitcoin instead of fiat stuff. So you get some Bitcoin for signing up. Go to bitcoinwell.com/Jor. You're guaranteed to get some Bitcoin for getting an account. I think you got to spend like $100 buying or selling, but you're going to get 5 free tosses into the well, which equates to possibly 5 million sats. No, it would probably be more like 2,500 sats, but you never know. You might be the lucky recipient of the million sats. Sorry, brain went blank there. Fat Super Zap. Yeah, that was from Vake. Thank you. 5,000 sats. That is a fat Super Zap. Except YouTube's going to probably take 50% of that from me, but it is what it is. I'm on Roku? Oh, no. Okay, YouTube. Gotcha. Sardoshi Noikonomoto. That's a hard one to say. Good morning. Jason says first movers like Bitcoin Way, Bitcoin Mentor will be tapped for consulting services. 100%. And we're going to help alleviate that. If you know what I mean. We're going to help alleviate that. Because, I mean, they're good. Bitcoin Way, Bitcoin Mentor. I'm sure they do great work, but we can do better, and we're going to do better. We're going to be Bitcoin guides for the everyday person. Skin in the game. Are you aware of Dr. Jack Krause? No, I'm not. It's who got me into Bitcoin 2021. Oh, and Jason too. Maybe I'll have to look into. I think I've heard the name, but I don't think I've ever seen him before. What's it, Jack? What did I say? Krause? Charlie Dunn says Bitcoin Ben shows a lot of shitcoins like Litecoin, Theta, and Divi. Yeah, that's what I don't love about it. But at the same time, I understand. I'm with Ben on that. I think that a lot of Bitcoiners, especially like the hardcore maxis, they think that Bitcoin's going to be the only thing that exists, and it's not. I do think that Bitcoin is the only thing that you should be holding right now. And if you need coins like Litecoin, like Divi, like Theta, if you need to use them in the future, then you can exchange some of your Bitcoin for them. But over these next 10 years, there's nothing that's going to even come close to the performance of Bitcoin. Nothing even close. So I do agree with him in the sense that they'll be around probably forever. I don't think that they'll ever not be any altcoins. But it's, in my opinion, it's stupid to be holding anything other than Bitcoin right now. It's stupid to be holding some of these other coins as an investment. I actually don't mind Litecoin myself. I think that there is going to be a use for Litecoin, and it really doesn't matter. And maybe we'll talk about that right now because that's something that I wanted to get into anyways. So maybe we'll talk about that right now. Because there was a comment on the channel this morning actually that caught my attention. Fucking YouTube. So, by the way, if you've been watching the show, if you've been subscribing to the channel here, do you want to just quickly check to see if you're still subscribing? Because I swear every time I open up my YouTube, the number of subscribers goes down. And I doubt that there's just somebody out there sitting in their house at 8 in the morning being like, fuck this guy, unsubscribe. So I don't know, something's going on there. There's been a couple people within the community here that have told me that they checked and they were unsubscribed from the channel. So I get it. That's a very YouTube thing to do, but it's kind of annoying at the same time. So just check to see if you're still subscribed to the channel. So yesterday we talked about Manhattan. We talked about the real estate. We talked about why Bitcoin is better than real estate. And this ties very well into this because somebody asked, what do you think of tokenized real estate in this case? So tokenized real estate, what does that look like? That would be me buying a house or buying a property, buying an apartment building, buying a commercial lot. And let's say I paid $1 million. And instead of taking the usual route of like setting up a corporation, selling shares in those corporations, paying a lawyer to do it, having to file minutes every year, we don't have to do that anymore. And one thing we're actually doing in Living in the Future community is we're going to be doing something similar to that. We don't really know what we're going to be buying, but we're just going to be putting sats into a fund. And every sat you put into the fund, your ownership percentage increases with it. So whether it's Litecoin, whether it's Theta, whether it's Divi, whether it's a tokenized real estate, it does not matter how much of those exist. It does not matter. The only thing that matters is that you have Bitcoin as the denominator, as the unit of measurement, as the base that reprices every other asset. As long as you have Bitcoin there, you could have as many altcoins as you want. It does not matter unless they're actually adding value, unless they're holding Bitcoin. They're going to trend towards zero over time against Bitcoin. Everything will, including if I bought an apartment block and tokenized it, those will go down compared to Bitcoin over time, unless it's performing very well in a good area. I'm holding some Bitcoin and the fund is actually growing, outpacing Bitcoin. But other than that, everything is going to go down and trend towards zero compared to Bitcoin. Everything. I think that's what most people are missing, is they get too worried about all these different altcoins and what's going on in Solana land or Ethereum or people launching a new token. Even Trump, the World Liberty token or World Liberty, whatever it's called. World Financial Liberty? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Unless that coin outperforms Bitcoin over time, it doesn't matter. It's going to zero. Slowly, but surely. So what do I think about tokenized real estate? I think that it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. As long as Bitcoin's there, it doesn't matter. But if you compare a tokenized real estate versus setting up a share, setting up a corporation, selling shares, paying a lawyer, setting up a bank account, getting everybody's information, that's a nightmare. Whereas what we're going to be doing is something similar to this, tokenized real estate. It'll be a tokenized fund. You put in a SAT into the fund, you get a percentage of ownership of the fund. It's that simple. That's all you need to do. That's the world that we're moving into. And there's nobody that can stop that. There's no lawyer that's needed. There's no banks that are needed. We don't need to get together and put up our hands every couple months and say, we agree to this. You just do it. So there could be 1 million of those. There could be 1 million funds. There could be 1 million real estate tokens. Doesn't matter. As long as Bitcoin's there to measure everything, it'll reprice itself. Unless it's more valuable than Bitcoin, it will trend towards zero over time compared to Bitcoin. And that's a fact, Jack. It's true, though. It's true. And I think that's the disconnect that people still have with the stock market, with bonds, with everything. It doesn't matter how much there is. As long as Bitcoin's there to reprice everything, then it doesn't matter. And there will always be new things coming up, new investment opportunities. But in that sense, I actually do like tokenized real estate because you don't have to spend $100,000 to get a piece of it. You don't have to spend $50,000 to get a piece of it. You can spend $5. You can put in your $5, get a token in return, whatever the percentage of that token is, that's what you own. There's no minimum, there's no threshold, there's no requirements, there's no only available to the rich people of the world. I love tokenized real estate. It's going to change everything. But at the same time, I'm still buying Bitcoin instead of that. And that's why Bitcoin will win over time. Oh, look at this. My orange pill was R38 Tau on Instagram. That's a wild answer. Let's check them out. R38. 350,000 followers. That's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen this guy before. Oh, that's probably why he's not speaking English. Pretty impressive, though. That's Renato Amato Trezoritao, co-author of the Bitcoin Red Pill. Interesting. Okay, so we got some good info here. Dr. Jack Krause did an episode with Simply Bitcoin last month or so. All right, it sounds like people are fans of, what the hell is going on here? Fucking hair. Oh, nice. I dropped it in my coffee. Arnie hair. All right, we got her out. We're back. So, I mean, if you need new people to watch on YouTube, I don't know if there's a shortage of people. It seems like to be watched list is like 500 videos. But check out Dr. Jack Kruse. Sounds like that we have some verification that he's legit. Charlie Dunn says, getting into Litecoin was the worst mistake of my life. It's a bold statement. It's a bold statement. I'm sure you've done worse things than that. I don't know you, but if I know people. All right. So what else we got here? There was a couple things I wanted to talk about in terms of news today, and we're already at 40 minutes. So that's not ideal. We're the Calendly's hot. I went about 2 years with my Calendly. That's like a thing that somebody can book. There would be like one every couple weeks maybe. But lately it's like been 5 or 6 at a time every week. So shout out to everybody who's been booking some times and figuring out their Bitcoin strategy. And if you want to book a time and just 15-minute call with me and just say, this is where I am, this is my setup, am I missing anything? This is where I want to go. These are my goals. How can I get there? Just book a time with me. We'll chat 15 minutes. And then if we need to, we can set up another time in the future or times up. It's important. I think a lot of people are really underestimating how important this time in history is. And if you take things too lightly, or I was going to say fuck around, but I already said it. So you're going to regret it for the rest of your life, truly. So make sure whatever Bitcoin you do have, your security process, everything about it is bulletproof. And so what value I add is I take a look at it and I see, if there's any holes, something you might be missing. There's a lot of things that we don't know, if you know what I mean. So somebody to help you with that, look for the holes, keep you on track accountability wise. I know that there's some people who are watching the show today who have done some Bitcoin strategy stuff with me. So consider that. It's an investment for sure, but it's I'd say it's worth it. Okay, Bitcoin. This was the big news yesterday. This is pretty big actually in the Bitcoin world. I was very happy to see this. So this is NYDIG. And just kind of going back to, hold on. Kind of going back to the Bitcoin Ben stuff. Like I said, I've been watching him. He was the one who originally got me into Bitcoin. And there are some things that, he's not for everybody. That's the thing that you have to keep in mind. And I think that if he was for everybody, then he would be a lot bigger in the Bitcoin world. He's pretty big though, honestly, in terms of his influence and his network. But the one thing I've noticed about him is that he's always right about things. Like and Rick can definitely attest to this. But he sees things like 2 or 3 years before they actually happen. And so much time passes between them that most people kind of drop off or forget that he talked about it. But there's certain things that he's been talking about for 2 or 3 years now that are starting to come true. And NYDIG's been one of the big ones, like New York Digital Assets Investment Group, I think it's called, something like that. But he's been talking about NYDIG and their connections with Michael Saylor and how it's been playing out behind the scenes. So I don't know. I really don't know what kind of connections he has inside, but it seems like a lot of them are very legitimate. And he's predicted a lot of things that I've seen personally that have come true. And this is one of them. So this is from Bitcoin News. NYDIG releases a paper making the argument that Bitcoin activity is entitled to First Amendment protection. First, Bitcoin consists entirely of the creation and transmission of information, which is speech, protected by the First Amendment. Second, Bitcoin activity is at minimum protected expressive conduct. And third, participation in the Bitcoin network is expressive association, separately safeguarded by the First Amendment. So this is very big. This is very big. And I know that we've talked about, then this is kind of where I see this right now. All right. So they've released this paper making the argument. So it's not official. It's just kind of they're putting it out there to the world, letting people know that Bitcoin, you cannot mess with Bitcoin because it consists entirely of the creation and transmission of information, which is protected, which is speech protected by the First Amendment. So again, this isn't an official court document, but they're letting people know, hey, you can't fuck with Bitcoin. So this is kind of my interpretation of it, is like, if, depending on what happens in the next 40 days, let's say Trump wins, we're good. He'll protect this. He's already said he'll protect people's right to self-custody, right to mine Bitcoin, right to hold their own keys. He already said that. So all we can do at this point is trust that he'll do that. Kamala Harris on the other side, I think that this is where that's why this is important. Because I think that if Kamala Harris were to get to, again, somebody called me out on YouTube for this the other day, but if she wins the election, she will probably go after Bitcoiners first day or first week, first month. She'll say, you have to KYC yourself. And I hate when people put words in other people's mouth, but this is just based on their last 4 years of trying to destroy Bitcoin in America. So this is just my opinion. This is not her actually saying this, or for sure going to say this, but this is what I think she's going to say. We're going to KYC everything. They're going to make it a lot harder to buy Bitcoin. They might close down the exchanges. They might subpoena the exchanges. They might take every app off the Apple App Store. And that would have significant impacts for the Bitcoin world, even though it is just the US, very small. I shouldn't say it's small, but it's only a piece of the whole world here. But it would have a very negative impact short-term on Bitcoin. And she could write those laws, put them into effect. People would be spooked. They might stop using Bitcoin. They might sell their Bitcoin. There might be a big dump. Big dump. But there might be. But then after that, things like this is what's going to protect Bitcoin long-term. So she might come out and say, Bitcoin's done. If you're a Bitcoiner in America, you better pack your bags, because we're not going to have any of that. We trust the system that's led us here to this great democracy of ours in the US. But then eventually it will be overturned in court, because this is legitimate. Bitcoin consists entirely of the creation and transmission of information, which is speech protected by the First Amendment. So what they try to do is they try to write laws that go against the Constitution of the US. They've been doing that forever. And by the time it gets overturned in court, people have already made up their mind about it. People have already acted. They've already sold their Bitcoin. So that's why this kind of thing is very important for the long term. There will be some carnage. If she wins, the Bitcoin journey is canceled. Maybe. Or we'll just be doing it from a beach somewhere else. But if she wins, we're in a lot of trouble. I'll tell you that for free. But it's good to see things like this are being put into place. Entities and organizations are taking steps to protect Bitcoin in America, Bitcoiners themselves. So shout out to NYDIG for that. Big shout out to NYDIG. Look at this still frame on Zapstream right now. When the heck was I doing that? I don't know. All right, what else do we got to talk about here today? The Xapo Bank bunker. That was a fun one. I don't know if we have time to watch that, though. Yeah, it's a short one. And then we're going to watch a 3-minute video, and then we're going to talk about the main part of the show today. And again, I'm sorry I'm getting behind in the comments here, but we got to keep the show moving. So this is also from Bitcoin News. Big shout out to Bitcoin News. They've been a sponsor of the show from very early on. So if you do one thing today, make sure you go over to their Twitter account. You follow them, go to their YouTube channel, subscribe. And they put out a ton of I would say that they're the best news source in Bitcoin. By far. I don't even know who second place would be. I love how consistent they are. I love how they do their posts. And I think they're going to be pretty influential in the future. So hopefully they can keep things on track.
I'm here in
Hopefully they don't get into shitcoin news. All right, let's watch this video. Let's look at a couple posts and talk about it.
Hi there, it's Gareth Jenkinson here from Cointelegraph. Today I'm here in Geneva, Switzerland for a very special trip. I'm about to board a helicopter and fly up into the Swiss Alps to visit a secret nuclear bunker that is being used to store Bitcoin by Xapo Bank, one of the world's pioneering Bitcoin-only banks. Let's take a trip together. Hi there, it's Gareth Jenkinson here.
All right, so that was a quick video on it, but let's see if I can go to the rest of the posts about it. This is pretty badass. And kind of the reason I wanted to show this, we might not be able to see it on here because of Twitter. Oh yeah, okay, we can. Oh, gotta sneeze every day at like 9 o'clock. I just have this sneeze come over me, and it never comes out. So here's the vault that features a 6-ton door leading into the facility. So again, this is how Xapo Bank in Switzerland is protecting their Bitcoin. A fucking bunker. So that's the door, 6-ton door. You got the bunker here is one of Switzerland's few dry bunkers, which the exposed rock painted over in some corridors. Like, how cool is that? Infrastructure services are protected by biometric scanners. 2 1-megawatt diesel generators provide backup power in case of power failure. The bunker is equipped with numerous intersectional hermetic doors. And it says Xapo Bank switched from multi-sig to MPC in 2023 to secure its Bitcoin. MPC and homomorphic encryption now protect its holdings, eliminating the need for manual processes. Every chef involved, or shards, contribute their piece to the signature without revealing it. And when combined, these shards create a valid signature that is able to sign the transaction, says Xapo's Chief Information Security Officer, Andrew Monakis. That's badass. And kind of the reason that I want to talk about this today is just to understand how serious some people are taking this stuff. Like, this wasn't built last week when the price started going up. This has been in the works for a very long time. And there are people like Xapo Bank, a bank, building this type of infrastructure to protect their Bitcoin. You think that they would be putting all this into place if they thought that Bitcoin was going to somehow disappear in the next 5 years? You think they'd have one of the very few dry bunkers in Switzerland, of all places, to protect their Bitcoin if they thought that Bitcoin was going to be gone in a couple of years? This is like the front of the pack. Back of the pack is your financial advisor. They're going to be the last person to embrace Bitcoin, to understand what's happening here, to open their mind up and see what's going on. They're last. Xapo Bank, Switzerland, dry bunkers, 6-ton doors. They're not fucking around. They're at the front of this thing. So they switched from multi-signature to MPC. I don't know what MPC is even. Let me ask Venice. I don't know. That wouldn't make sense. Maybe multi-protection chefs? I don't know. Let's ask. What does MPC stand for in Bitcoin security? We're about to find out. All right. So MPC stands for multi-party computation in Bitcoin security. Multi-party computation. It is a cryptographic technique that allows a private key to be split, which is the shards. Cryptographic technique that allows a private key to be split and encrypted among multiple parties, enhancing the security by reducing the risk of a single point of failure. In an MPC wallet, the private key is divided among multiple parties, which can be individuals, companies, or smart contracts. This distribution makes it more difficult for hackers to steal the key, as they would need to compromise multiple parties rather than just one, which is similar to a multi-signature setup. MPC is considered a more secure alternative to traditional private key storage methods, as it reduces the risk of private keys being lost or stolen. So that's the future of Bitcoin security. Absolutely. And if you're here, if you're watching the show in 2024, there's going to come a day where you're going to be implementing that into your house. Maybe you have your own bunker. Maybe you're part of an MPC. It could happen sooner than later, but you have to understand how valuable the Bitcoin that you're holding is going to be in the future. Regardless of what it is. It could be 500,000 sats. It could be 5 million sats. It could be 5 Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. If you're here now, you're going to be earning Bitcoin. You're going to keep stacking Bitcoin. And what that's going to be worth in the future is going to be insane. So I say that for a few reasons. Number one, get your security process in place. Have a strategy. Know what you're going to do with it, because there's going to be so many different things that come up over the next couple of decades that you're going to be like, what do I do here? So secure your Bitcoin. Get yourself a strategy. Make sure that you have an inheritance plan in case something were to happen to you, in case a bus hits you on the way to the golf course today. Get yourself a network of people and just understand where this is going. Do not, and have the conviction knowing that, even if Bitcoin went 10x next year, think about what it's going to be worth in 50 years from now. Think about what it's going to be worth to your family down the road. We're going to have Steve Jones. We're going to have the Steve Jones Bitcoin bunker in 2064. Steve Jones, it's going to have a statue of Steve Jones outside of the bunker. The Jones family Bitcoin. They're going to have a statue of Steve Jones right up front. And they're going to say, thank God back in 2024, Uncle Steve, Grandpa Steve took this stuff seriously enough. Didn't fuck around. Didn't try to get a yield on his Bitcoin. Didn't try to make some quick profits off of altcoins. Didn't cash it in for a new motorbike. He held on to it. He protected it. He didn't leave his cold card lying around. He didn't write down his private key in front of any cameras. He made sure that the Bitcoin, he understood where this was going, and he made sure that the Jones family was going to be all right. And now outside the Jones bunker sits a statue of Steve Jones. It might seem like I'm being sarcastic here, but I'm not. Lots going on today on the show. You got to love it. You have to. Daniel says it's like Superback. That's exactly what I was going to say. So the nice thing that we're going to have available here to the community here, as I've been saying, this is Craig's baby. I'm going to be helping him with it as much as I can, but Craig is going to have something similar to that, an MPC, where you have different keys scattered across different countries, and you need X amount of those keys to unlock your Bitcoin. And it's just going to be little QR codes. You do have to, it's a bit of an investment. It's the total investment to get set up properly in the most secure way. I'm thinking, and I might be wrong here, but I'm thinking it's going to be about $500 or $600, which grand scheme is fuck all. If you understand, if you understand the Jones bunker and what this is going to be worth in X amount of years, today is the time that you have to be doing this stuff. So get in. Actually, you know what? Because we're getting close, and I think that Craig's very close to be able to launch this thing. So if you want to try that out, if you want more information on the Superback, the MPC model, the keys in different countries model, get in touch with me. Send me an email today, and I'll forward them to Craig. We'll get in touch. Maybe we'll set up a meeting to see how we can help, see what the costs are, see if you're interested. Let's start that today. So if anything I just said there resonated with you at all, it sounds like you want your own Jones bunker. I like the Jones bunker. I think I'm going to use that analogy in the future. But it's absolutely true. And you have to mentally put yourself in that year, in that time, and just understand that that's absolutely going to happen. And the decisions you make today, this year, are going to be the ones that dictate whether you have the Jones bunker with the statue of yourself outside of it. For real. So again, if you're interested, if you want more information, if you want info on pricing, if you want info on the process of it, you can set up a call. I'll probably be on it. Craig will be on it, hopefully. Well, Craig will be on it for sure. But just shoot me an email. All my information is below in the show notes here. 88sats@proton.me. Just say, I want more information on the super-backed MPC wallet. I don't know if Craig's here or not, but he'll like that. Because I think he's very close to being able to launch it. He's done a lot of work. I've seen some of the information he's sent me. It looks pretty solid. I'm not going to lie. Take your cold card, take your passport, and times that by 10 security level, without being too complicated either. You just have to take the first step. You have to make the initial investment, which, I mean, if spending $500 in 2024 means you're going to have a statue outside of Jones bunker in 2064, I don't know. It's up to you. It's your call. Everything is voluntary here, and everything is your own personal responsibility. And big shout out to Duncan over in Zap Stream. The Zapped 1,000 sats. So we got 5,000 sats today for the Open Sats Fund. I better add Duncan to the shout out list today. Oh, I don't have Arnie's thing up here. I took it off for the golf show last night. I like it like that. There we go. So again, for those who have contributed to the open source Open Sats Fund, thank you. But if you want to send some Bitcoins to our good friend Arnie, who's not here right now, that's how you can do it. And there's been people sending in there. Every time I check it after the show, there's 1,000 sats or 500 sats, 10,000 sats the other day. So thank you, everybody. Oh, I missed a lot of comments here. All right, what do we do? What should we do here? I love doing these questions because it just makes for such good discussion that we might not otherwise come up with. What should I do? We're at an hour. Okay, I'm going to zip through a few of these comments, and if there's anything worth talking about, we'll stop. But heard of the daylight computer? No, I have not. Is that like a solar one? Solar powered computer? I don't know. Steve Jones, owner of Steve Jones Bitcoin Bunker. Bitcoin will help make property prices lower. People are buying properties to keep their purchasing power preserved. Once they find Bitcoin will do it, they will not need a property. Yeah, 100%. Not only because of that, but I just think that the market itself has been so. The reason why prices are so high is because of speculation. People are buying them for a return on investment instead of just to live in. And once people understand the value of Bitcoin and why it's far superior to real estate, all of those houses are going to be sold. And they're going to buy Bitcoin with it. I know that it's already happening across the world right now. So as that happens, the prices of houses are going to go down. And we know what's going to happen to Bitcoin. Do you think it will be possible for us to transfer real estate peer-to-peer via blockchain someday? I mean, possibly, but what would you need to do that for? All you need is the title to the house. You have to register it under your name, and you can just send somebody Bitcoin. I don't think you need to put it on the blockchain. That's where people get confused. It's like, why does the contract need to be on the blockchain? I own it. I'm living here. I have the title to it. I paid you Bitcoin. Leave me alone. If you like to tokenize real estate, check out the Island Project. I mean, one thing about the tokenized real estate is I would have to be, I think I've heard of that guy before. There's a lot of scammy projects out there. that I'm not going to fall for. I don't know if that is or not, but there's a lot of scams out there. So keep an eye out for that. Brendan Smash like, well, how are we doing for likes? We're doing well for Zaps today. Oh, Bitcoin's touching 65K. It's exciting, even though I hate it. It's exciting. I hate it because you get less sats for your fake dollars. How are we making out here, folks? We got 38 people in here. No, 41. 33 likes. That's pretty good. Pretty solid. Reminder, if you haven't yet, do her. Parker, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. What else we got? Xapo Bank, their fees are insane. $1,000 US to maintain an account there. Yeah, that's the other part of our super back thing that we're going to be doing. It's going to be very reasonably priced for people. You're going to get the exact same quality, if not more. And it's going to be a fraction of the cost. 540 of TFTC is a must listen. New info about the Silicon Bank collapse and 2 other banks. No surprise, Pocahontas Warren is involved. Brennan, yes, he is correct here. He's ahead of us. Multi-party computation. Repurposed gold vaults. Seems over the top. Is it? I don't know. I was thinking about that too, Jason, as I was watching it. I was like, do you really need this? What exactly are you protecting down here? The keys? Unless there's something I'm missing there. But I actually thought that too. Seems over the top. Like, what are they protecting in there? I'm assuming all the keys that you need to unlock the Bitcoin aren't within that vault. Right? Maybe they're mining in there too. Who knows? Rajesh back in the house today. Good morning. So he says, my brain is exploding with the knowledge you provide. Definitely worth being a subscriber and learning it end to end. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. Some comments are worth just as much as sats to me. So thank you for that. Oh, we're back at 65K. Would you look at that? Good to see. Looks like a big jump. We're at 65,083. What was the previous all-time high? Was it 69 or 64? I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? 30 mil of shorts getting liquidated at 50K. Or why 50K? I thought they'd be getting liquidated if it goes up, not 50. I don't know. 73 is all-time high. I meant from last cycle, what it was. I see Phoenix Falconer over in Zap Stream. Good morning. Good to see you. All right. Oh, hold on. We got a question here. We got a question from the German compounder, who I believe is a new member on our Living in the Future. I think he was in the chat yesterday for the private show, where I take my shirt off and pants. How do you guys swap on-chain Bitcoin to Lightning? Which wallets do you recommend? Actually, go and watch my German compounder. I'm going to send you here right now. Go and, oh, fuck, Daniel, you ruined my momentum here. Daniel said MicroStrategy is up 20% so far today. I was so close to buying a decent chunk of MicroStrategy yesterday because I knew this was going to come. I was going to put it through my TFSA, cash them out, pay down a bit of debt. Oh well. What was I looking at here? Oh, go to German compounder. I'm going to send you on a bit of a little wild goose chase here. I'm going to give you a couple options for it. But I want you to go watch the Aqua video that I did the other day, the Aqua wallet tutorial, because that is the best way to swap. The easiest by far. I mean, there's other ways to do it. You can use Liquid. You can use Bolt Swap. I think there's a side swap thing. But you don't need any of that. All you need to do is get Aqua, and you can do all that within the app very easily. One app. So what I'm going to do right here is this is the goose chase you're going to go on, German compounder. You're going to have to go to sats.gg. So jump over there right now, sats.gg. And I'm going to share the link to the video in the chat in there. Unfortunately, you can't do it on YouTube. So you got to go over to sats.gg, find the video, and click that link, and it'll take you to the Aqua wallet. They did a tutorial on it last week about swapping Lightning, Liquid, eCash, on-chain to the cold storage. It's an amazing wallet. It really is. And big shout out to Rock and Roll today. I don't know if he's here or not, but he was the one who got me on that wallet. And you know what? I think since you're a member of the Living the Future, I'm pretty sure I posted it in the feed yesterday as well. So if you don't feel like doing that, then you can just go to the Patreon. It should be at the top of the screen there. All right. Oh, Austin said 65K, not 50. Yeah, that makes sense. So there's a lot of shorts being wiped out as we speak. Okay, well, we're an hour and 11 minutes into this thing. We did have fun playing with our Bitcoins. Maybe we'll wrap it up here. Maybe we'll talk about this stuff tomorrow. No, you know what? Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Well, let's do it right now. So I'm going to go back on nostr right now because I posted about this morning. But this is kind of what I want to talk about today, is just fun things you can do with Bitcoin right now. I think it's easy to trade money for Bitcoin, fiat for Bitcoin, watch our balances go up. But I think we have to be actually using it, because that's what it was designed to be used for. Not only peer-to-peer cash, but the technology, Lightning, all the different things that we can use right now Bitcoin for. I think we should be trying our best to do that. So I got a list here of about, we'll call it 8 things that I want to talk about that you can do. I called it great ideas for Bitcoiners. Okay, so let's just run through these. I have to blow my nose. Nothing to blow my nose with in here right now. Okay, we'll get through it. So the first one, I saw there was a financial advisor yesterday on Instagram. He actually does pretty good work, but he did a poll. It's a local guy. He's on Instagram. He's trying to teach people about money, investing, funds, all this kind of stuff. And he's a good guy. I've talked to him about Bitcoin a couple of times, so I'm not going to shit on him at all. But I saw that he was talking about a fund for your children. He said, how much would you rather spend, $195 or $145? And this is what you get. This is the benefits to doing it. And he did a poll, and people are voting like, you're going to put $200 into a fund for your kid that probably won't be there in 10 years from now. And if it is, it'll be worth nothing compared to Bitcoin. It's just like, once you see Bitcoin for what it is, once you look at the past, once you understand where we are and see where we're going, nothing else even makes sense. So the great idea here and the fun thing that you can do for Bitcoin is, if you are somebody who has young kids, and I'm sure most people have done this, but if you haven't, cancel your RESPs, cash them out, whatever funds you have, your piggy banks, put it all into Bitcoin. And you don't need $200 a month to do it. You could probably do $10 a month in Bitcoin for the next 20 years, and your kid would be the most wealthy person in your town. So the one advantage here that we have right now is time. So you just create a new fund, a new wallet for your kid, send 10,000 sats there every week or every month, and just hold on to it. And I mean, in the past, people would have these funds for their college education or kids' education, college, university. But I think if you did that for 20 years for your kid, 10,000 sats every month or whatever it is, your kid won't need college. They'll be able to do whatever they want to. And I mean, you're probably going to have to teach them. Well, you can't just say, here's your Bitcoin, go have fun playing with your Bitcoins. But that's something that I think every person should be doing right now. And even if you don't have kids, do it for your dog. Do it for your nephew. Do it for your town. But have some sort of fund where you're putting some extra cash or extra sats in there and just let it accrue over time. But I think for the kids, for sure, that's the one thing you should be absolutely doing, is creating a little fund for your kids. Number 2 here, and this is an interesting one for me because it's been fun for me. But create an NPub for your dog or your pet, cat, snake, bird. Create a nostr account for your pet. And for 2 reasons. I think that people, for some reason, and I've witnessed this firsthand, people like zapping dogs over people. Even though it's me sitting up here on camera, people like zapping Arnie more than me. And that's just human nature. I'm not taking it personally or anything like that, but people love animals. People love pets. So just get onto Nostr. If you don't want to make an account for yourself, you have no interest in it, that's okay. But make sure you create one for your pet. So for the zaps, you can create them a wallet. You can let that build up similar to your child's fund. But the other part of that too is that even if you don't get a single zap, even if you create an account, you posted there for a year or 2 or 3, and you never got one zap, think about how cool that's going to be to look back on. It's basically like a diary, a video image diary of your pet. That's very cool to me, because you're not going to do that on anything else. You're not going to do that on Facebook. You're not going to do that on Twitter, Instagram. But on Nostr, you can just send out a post every day of your pet doing something or whatever it is. And you're going to have a full diary of your pet on Nostr, which is pretty badass. All right. I do badly need some Kleenex here. My nose is running. What can I do? I'm going to be right back. Arnie can take the reins. What you doing? Well, Arnie showed up too. We got him. We lured him in. All right, that was much needed. So that's the second one there. NPub for your pet. Consider it, and make sure you follow Arnie on Zapstream, and he'll follow you, or on Nostr, he'll follow you back. What else we got here? I mean, what I asked the question on Nostr, and a couple of answers we got was sending zaps on Nostr. I still, I mean, I talk about this almost every show, but I still think a lot of people really are looking past how cool it is that you can send Bitcoin, any amount of Bitcoin, million sats, 10 sats, 1 sat to somebody else for their content or for whatever. We started the show today. Letha had a comment on the screen. She won the best comment. I found her NPub. I sent her Bitcoin. I didn't have to ask her permission. I didn't have to ask her bank permission, my bank permission. I didn't have to send X amount of dollars or enter in any sort of information. That is so powerful. Not just for the likes, for the zaps, for content, but for things like that. And people talk about splitting their bill at a restaurant. Same idea. Somebody pays, and instead of e-transfers or giving cash or figuring out the exact amount, you just send them, you zap their profile on Nostr. So that's an incredible thing. I think that a lot of people here within the community have been utilizing, but if you haven't yet, if you've been watching the show and been listening to me talk about Nostr for the last X amount of weeks and months, year, you have to get on there. You have to get on there. Another one here is streaming on Fountain. So the cool thing about that you can do on Fountain, and this is very unlike anything else, and this is like the whole value for value thing that we talk about, is like, this is how it should be. And if you compare it to our world now, how it is, let's say you wanted to watch a video or a movie or buy a song. And in the past, you have to pay for that before you listen to it. And who sets the price there? Who's the judge of that price? Because every single person on earth is going to get more or less value than somebody else sitting next to you. Like if me and you watch a movie, I might like it, you might hate it, but we both had to pay the same amount for it, even though it had a completely different value to us. Whereas something like Fountain, if you get on the Fountain and you get some Bitcoin in your wallet, you can actually earn Bitcoin by streaming on there too. But if you load up your wallet and you say, all right, I really want this, I want to contribute to the Bitcoin network in any way that I can. And one way I'm going to do that is I'm going to set my streaming on Fountain to be 5 sats per minute. It doesn't matter who you're listening to. It doesn't matter anything. You just set it for 5 sats per minute. And so then that podcast, they're not asking you for any money up front, but you're saying, if I listen to this podcast for an hour, that's worth 300 sats to me. If I listen to it for 5 minutes and I stop after that, it was only worth 25 sats to me. So that's the true value for value. And that's, I think, that the way that the world should be, instead of having to pay for something and then get to decide how much value it was to you afterwards, right? Whereas if you do something and then you give value based on how much you enjoyed it, how much value you got for it, that just makes so much more sense to me. So utilizing things like Fountain. So if you're a Bitcoiner watching the show, make sure you get on the Fountain today. Set up a profile there, load some sats on there, check out the Bitcoin journey on Fountain. It's there. And you can just listen to that every day. Every day, even if you've already watched the live show, just throw on the daily Bitcoin journey and you're going to earn sats from Fountain for doing that. And then you can set your streaming sats if you want to. If not, whatever. But the point is here that we have the ability to do that now, which is pretty special. Going to change everything. It's going to change everything. What else we got here? Buying protection. This was a one you probably didn't think about. Buying protection. So as we move more into this world of decentralization, into open source, into privacy, there's going to be different opportunities that come up. And I watched a video today. I think it was about a 5-minute video on what was it called? The drone was called Ghost X. And it looked like the US military had been contracting this. This was their new contract that they signed. Here it is. I'm not going to show the full video here, but I'm going to show. This is badass. Oh, sorry. I need to take this off the screen. Somebody's got to remind me, hey, George, take the comment off the screen that you're not even talking about right now. So this is what I saw this morning. This is called Ghost X, and I want you to go watch this video after today. Ghost X Modular Multi-Mission SUAS. That shit fires me up. I just love that. So cool. 25 pounds. That's a drone, Ghost X. And they just signed a big contract with the US military to provide them with those type of drones. But go watch that video. It's 3 minutes long. It's badass. But the reason this ties into Bitcoin is because if you're going to be, this is the world we're heading into, whether we like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. This is going to be the thing of the future. The near future anyways. Who knows where it goes from there. But for the near future, this is going to be the stuff that's going on. Drones, open source weapons online. And if you don't want anybody to know that you bought that, the old way of doing that was cash. You could go down to your barber, and if you didn't want anybody to know that you had that cash, you could give him the cash and nobody would know about it. But Bitcoin's a global scale of that. So if you want to buy something that you don't want people to know that, or I mean, the haircut's probably a bad idea. Let's say back in before it was legalized here in Canada, if you wanted to go buy some weed, you pay with cash. You're not going to send them an e-transfer. You don't want the paper trail of e-transferring a drug dealer. So you just pay cash. So it's the same kind of thing with this. If you want to be buying things like this, I'm not saying you're going to need a military style drone, but things like this. If you're interested in it, and if you want to buy it without anybody knowing about it, you can pay with eCash. You can pay with Lightning. And yes, it is available to the military right now, but think about how fast this whole thing is evolving. You have this, and all of a sudden somebody gets the design for that, they open source it, and then there's 100 people around the world building these with that design and selling them online, and you'll be able to pay for them with Bitcoin. And things like this might be a little bit different. It as is in, I wouldn't say it's a robot. I guess it is kind of, but like the robots, as we've talked about, they will be accepting Bitcoin. The Bitcoin will be the only thing worth value to them. So if you want to, I don't know, maintain it or get new parts or whatever that is, it'll all be in Bitcoin. It won't be in dollars. So that whether it's a drone, whether it's some sort of weaponry, protection, I call it on here, buying protection. So that was that one. The next one here is like pools, sports pools, golf. I'm going to use golf pools as an example here, but like you can now find a community online, and whether it's golf, whether it's polo, whether it's rugby, whatever it is, whatever people like to bet on, like make pools or whatever you're doing. But golf pool is an example where you don't need to provide your name. You don't need to provide your phone number, your email address, anything like that. Your bank information, you don't need any of that to participate nowadays. You can just use Lightning. And we've been doing golf pools for the last couple of years with Bitcoin, with Lightning. And so there's people who watch the show. I have no idea what their name is. I have no idea what their phone number is, but they can compete and play in these pools using Bitcoin. And so you put all these different things together and just kind of see where this whole thing is going towards. And we're still in the very early part of this whole thing, and it's going to become much better, much easier to do. But when it does, the opportunity is going to be gone. And there's another one. Somebody said Lightning Monopoly. So it's the same kind of thing. Think about the games. If you're playing a game on your phone, you have a group of friends, or you're playing Call of Duty with your friends, or NHL, 2K, whatever they're on now. Instead of like having to send e-transfers or small amounts of money and being charged fees on that, you couldn't really do that. Or with somebody in a different country across the world you're playing Call of Duty against. You say, okay, the first person to get 10 kills, they win the pot. They win the sats. That's where this whole thing's going to. They're being built to have it, right now we still have to manually do it. Whereas if you're playing Call of Duty and somebody won a game, everybody has to send them the sats afterwards. But it'll come a time where every game, every application, everything that we do on our phone and computer, it's all going to have Lightning wallets built into them. So it'll be automatic. If you lose, your sats go into the fund. The person who wins, sats go into their wallet. It's possible now. It's just nobody knows that this stuff exists. Nobody knows the actual functionality and what can be done with Bitcoin. And the last one here. And this was an idea I talked about on Monday show. I think Monday show. I just threw it out there as an idea, and I've been getting some very good feedback on it. So we're going to go ahead with it. We don't know the whole structure on it yet, but we talked about the tokenization of real estate. We talked about the power of that, of not having to go through the corporate structures, the shares, the lawyers, the banks, the fucking federal government. You can just create a fund now which we're going to do. And the fund, the whole mission behind the fund is going to be, what was it? Doing good in the world without putting a dent in your stack. So the whole idea here, what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, you got 500 sats kicking around. Maybe you want it on the daily Bitcoin journey. You send that to the fund. You enter it into the spreadsheet. So it all agrees. Everything adds up. It's all very transparent. And then your percentage of ownership changes of the fund. Somebody else contributes 5,000 sats later that day. Your ownership goes down. Theirs goes up. And so you have this moving fund that everybody's sending Bitcoin to. And based on your ownership, that's how you get to decide who does what with it. And I'm telling you this idea because we're actually going to do this, but you could also use this in your family or your friend group or whatever, your own network. But so then doing good for the world without putting a dent in your stack. So I think that all Bitcoiners have this something in their mind that they're going to try to help with their Bitcoin, do good for the world. And you want to get more and more and more because you're going to need some for your personal, for your family, but you're also wanting to have some for your community or for this initiative, whatever it is. But with this, you can kind of keep that separate. You say, okay, this is my personal stack. None of that's ever going to, I don't have to worry about what I want to do with that in the future. That's just ours. It's our families. But every week or every day, I'm going to send some Bitcoin to this fund and I'm going to have ownership in that. And we're going to use that fund to build a homeless shelter or buy a private jet or buy a house in El Salvador that we all own part of. Like we can do this without the legal structure. That's having fun playing with your Bitcoins. That's the power of this whole thing. So as I said, don't feel like you have to join ours. Start one of your own. If you want to, though, ours are going to be pretty badass. There's some really great people in there who are going to do some great things with that. And so down the road, we say, okay, well, there's this women's shelter in Florida. They need a new building. So we all vote on it based on how much sats you've contributed through the years. And this is just another example of being early is going to pay off significantly in the future. So let's say you've been sending 500 sats a day for the last 2 years. And all of a sudden you own 5% of this fund. And so not only do you have an influence in the say in what happens to the funds, but you're part owner of whatever we buy. And yes, as the fund grows, we'll have to become a little bit more legitimate with not so much the legal side of things, I don't think, but like tracking it all. It's going to be a slow start, but that's how everything starts. So it's called the bank. And how the idea came up, how I came up with the idea was I thought we could just do something similar and call it like a piggy bank, where you have a couple sats, you throw it in the fund, you own part of that piggy bank. And then I went to the biggie bank for Bitcoin. And then I just said, we don't need any stupid word in between there. We're just going to call it the bank. And we're going to have two little things on the B, like Bitcoin. So anyways, if that sounds cool to you, if that sounds like a good idea, make sure you check out the Living in the Future community, because that's where it's going to be born. So to do that, show notes, everything is in there. It's right at the top, I think in caps now, Living in the Future, join. So I think with that, well, maybe look for some last minute comments here, but other than that, I think we're going to shut her down for the day. Austin says, shorting is a great way to lose your Bitcoin. Yes. Don't ever, ever, ever short Bitcoin. Never. Oh, Austin, I lost 2 Bitcoin going long in 2021. Eesh. Oh, that hurt me. What's the best way to manage multiple wallets? In terms of what? Like keeping track of the private key and everything? Everybody has their own processes, own techniques. Everybody's different. Everybody feels is more risk adverse than others, but I would strongly suggest getting multiple wallets. If you have all your Bitcoin in one wallet, that's a single point of failure. If you're only buying Bitcoin from one exchange, that's a single point of failure. You want to reduce all those in your life, all the single points of failure. That's your mission. Sorry, if Zap.stream is pretty quiet. Was everybody dying there? Everybody pass away in Zapstream? Jeez, I got hair everywhere today. What a show. Cold Deck says, my daughter is in grade 7. She has a trip with the school in grade 12. I have a wallet for her, DC every month until grade 12. What a good idea. That is such a good idea. I can't tell you. I mean, the other thing you do there too is like if you got a daughter in grade whatever, 2, 3, 4, set up a wallet when they're 16, 17, when they get their first car, use that Bitcoin. Or just use the Bitcoin to make the payments. Don't sell the Bitcoin, but use the Bitcoin to make the payments every month. That's such a good idea. All right, so just started using Fountain yesterday and loving it. It is awesome. It now connects with Nostr too. Buying condoms with Lightning. I don't think you should be ashamed of buying condoms. Although it is tough if you're a guy or a girl, actually. It's one of the most awkward things is showing up to the till with condoms. Black Mirror dystopian. I mean, yeah, if that's how you want to look at it, I don't think it is. I think we're just going to have such dystopian to me is the government having all of this. Only the government being able to fly drones. Only the government being able to buy this weapon. Only the government being able to do this. That's dystopian to me because then they have you by the balls. They can do whatever you want to. You have no power. You have no power to fight back. That's dystopian to me. That's where we are today. But if you give everybody the tools and the ability to have access to this stuff, I mean, just use the US as an example here. Like I believe the only reason why we're still somewhat free in the world is because the US has guns. And I'm sure back in whatever year it was, they would have said that's a dystopian future too. But that's been the saving grace for the whole world, in my opinion. The fact that the US still has access to guns. Dystopian to me is when only the government can fly drones over your house and there's nothing that you can do about it. That's scary. But we're moving into a world completely different from that. You're given access to every single person to protect themselves from that. Right? That's the difference. But I understand what you're saying there. It does seem kind of dystopian. But when you think about it from a different perspective there, it makes a lot more sense to me anyways. Hey, Ballsy Golf's over in Zapstream. Good morning. Good to see you. Great to see you. Utah State fan. This is an interesting question. Do you have an OnlyFans? I mean, kind of. The Patreon is kind of like OnlyFans, except nobody's really paying to see me or listen to me talk. There's a lot of different benefits in that group that people pay for, not to see me. No homo. I do not have an OnlyFans. Maybe one day for the feet. I honestly think that everybody out there, if you got a decent looking foot and you're not on OnlyFans, you're doing it wrong. Myself included. I have very much strong regret. I have strong regret of not having an OnlyFans for feet. Because you don't even have to show your face. You can just get free money from weirdos out there. Buy Bitcoin with it. Multiple wallets, BIP85 for passphrases. Yeah, I forget what we were talking about there, but 12 words for every wallet. What do you mean? What does that mean? I don't know. Let's wrap her up. I use some are 12 words, some are 24 words, some are 25 words. Some are buried under the ground, some are right beside me. Everybody's process is going to be different. Everybody's setup is going to be different. The key is though, and this is where I'm going to end it today. And I want you to really think hard on this and don't feel any sort of pressure at all. I'm just going to say this. The only thing that matters is you have your security process and you know exactly what that is. That's it. I mean, it helps to have a cold card. It helps to have a passport. It helps to have these different tools. But as long as you have your security process and you know exactly what it is, because when you think about it, the time that you're going to be needing that, you're going to be in a lot of duress, stress. You're going to be in a very stressful environment. And if you don't have that, like the back of your hand, there's a chance that you're going to be scrambling. It's very hard to find things when you're in that type of situation. I was looking for my keys yesterday when Bridge and Arnie were waiting in the driveway, and it was like I couldn't even think because I was so stressed trying to find them. So imagine somebody's in your house, or the house is on fire, or whatever it is, and you need to grab your stuff. You just have to know where it is. And I think that having something like the super backed wallet, and this is why I'm going to tell you this, and do it right after the show so you don't forget. Send me an email, say I want more information on the super backed wallet. I'll set up a call with you, Craig. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about what you need, talk about how it could benefit you, and then you get to make the decision yourself. And I'm kind of looping Craig in here without asking him about it. But we have to take this stuff seriously. And I think that this is the most serious thing that you can do. As I said, take your cold card, take your passport, times that by 10 in terms of how this setup is going to be more secure. Overall, it's multi-jurisdictional, different countries. You're basically taking the Xapo Bank model for yourself for a 1/1,000,000th of the cost. So shoot me an email, 88sats@proton.me. And we'll set up a conversation. We'll set up a meeting and we'll just talk. There's going to be absolutely no pressure, no upfront commitment, anything like that. We'll just talk and see if it makes sense for your specific situation. So with that, I want to say thank you to Duncan, to Cold Deck, to Plunger, to Letha, and to Daniel for the 1,000 sats each, all going towards the Open Sats Fund today. Thank you. That is awesome. And thank you to Vake, I think it was, Vake, for the super chat today. The equivalent of 5,000 sats. So I don't know why we've been having such long shows here. Tomorrow is No Agenda Fridays on the show. So hour 40 minutes here. I don't know. Consider joining the Living the Future. It's going to be the best investment you can make at this time in your Bitcoin journey. I promise. I guarantee it. And if you don't, just cancel it. Second part, if you want to contribute, if you got any sort of value from today's show, you can send it to our buddy here. Oh, he's changed positions. He's in the hallway now. Send it to our buddy. And other than that, have yourselves an amazing Thursday today. Because why wouldn't you? We'll be back here tomorrow for No Agenda Friday, everybody. So thank you once again. We'll see you right back here first thing tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.